So as they always do, Russia worked overtime lately to try and interfere with yet another US election. You might remember a few months or so ago, I warned you about a couple of viral videos, one where it was supposed to look like a white female Trump supporter was being attacked by two black Kamala supporters. But everybody almost immediately called BS on that one because the acting was worse than what you see in most pornos. And then there was another one where a woman in a wheelchair claimed to have been left paralyzed after being hit by Kamala, who was supposedly driving drunk at the time. But although these videos did manage to rack up several million views online, both of these stories were pretty quickly debunked, with US intelligence tracking their origins back to the usual suspects over in Russia. US intelligence says Russia created fake CIA news site to fabricate Harris scandal. Enter the Black Insurrectionist. And before you start calling me racist, just stick with me on this, it'll all make sense in a minute. So after the debate, where Trump finally unveiled the healthcare plan he's been working on for the last 8 years.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan.
Naturally, maggots started frantically tripping over themselves, making excuses for Trump's piss-poor performance, with most choosing to blame the moderators for fact-checking Trump's lies, rather than, blaming him for lying so much in the first place.
I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted. I'm ashamed of those moderators at ABC News.
But among the many whiny morons whimpering about ABC simply doing their jobs, one voice cried louder than the rest. A newly created Twitter account going by the name The Black Insurrectionist began claiming that an anonymous whistleblower at ABC had filed an affidavit in New York claiming to be in possession of secret recordings that proved that ABC News had rigged the presidential debate. So after providing a few screenshots of the supposed affidavit and claiming to have sent a copy to House Speaker Mike Johnson, the mega chos online did what they do best, took a completely unsubstantiated claim and spread it around as fact, with maggot-brained billionaire Bill Ackman reposting it to his 1.4 million followers. Dear Bob, I assume you have been made aware of this affidavit, which was made public earlier today, in which a whistleblower states that ABC worked closely with the Kamala Harris campaign in sharing the substance of the questions, avoiding certain topics, agreeing on the staging, committing to fact-check Donald Trump and not Harris, and more disturbing details. But holes immediately started forming when people started noticing the many inconsistencies in the Black Insurrectionist story. For starters, Speaker Mike Johnson never received a copy of the affidavit, despite saying he had sent Johnson a copy of it. He then claimed he had filed a complaint with the SEC, despite the SEC handling markets and financial disclosures, not wild accusations about presidential debate rigging. He then pivoted to claiming that the FCC was investigating, but couldn't provide any evidence of that either. So as the days went on and the 24-hour news cycle moved along, the ABC affidavit story faded away. But the damage had been done. Millions of people now believe that a major news network had rigged a debate against their presidential candidate, only widening an already deep divide between the mainstream media and Trump's base, and pushing them even further towards the right-wing propagandists that helped spread the lie in the first place. Allegations are credible. ABC employees blow the whistle on debate being rigged. So as the weeks ticked by, the Black Insurrectionist kept a relatively low profile, only doing the usual mega shitposting. That is, until one day in mid-October when he shared a video claiming to be one of Tim Walz's former students named Matthew Metro, alleging that Walz had sexually abused him as a child.
My name is Matthew Metro. I'm a survivor of sexual assault. Over the past few years, we've seen many powerful men, even many celebrities, being held accountable for their sexual assaults. There's something I'd like to say to each and every survivor of sexual assault. I believe you. The people believe you.
But the video was quickly confirmed to be made with AI, with many people noticing the obvious differences between the teeth and the facial features on the man in the video and the pictures of the real Matthew Metro that they had found online. So, if this was a fake Matthew Metro, why didn't the real Matthew Metro come out publicly to deny it? Well, after contacting one of Matthew's friends through social media, people discovered that the real Matthew Metro had recently become homeless, which explained why he hadn't realized his image was being used online, and likely why he'd been chosen to use for the lie in the first place. So while people tried to track down the real Matthew Metro, the Black Insurrectionist chose to double down on the lie, posting a screenshot of an email that he claimed Matthew had sent him, despite the fact that the email appeared to be sent from himself. The date had an extra comma in it, and there was a cursor clearly visible in the text box. So with his story rapidly unraveling before his very eyes, the Black Insurrectionist himself also began to unravel, seemingly getting frustrated and confessing that he had in fact faked the email before quickly deleting the post. A few days later, the US intelligence community confirmed that the fake Matthew Metro video had originated from Russia-aligned propaganda network that they had been monitoring called Storm 1516 that had also been behind the previous fake videos. A Russian-aligned propaganda network notorious for creating deepfake whistleblower videos appears to be behind a coordinated effort to promote wild and baseless claims that Minnesota Governor and Vice Presidential candidate Tim Walz sexually assaulted one of his former students, according to several specialists tracking the disinformation campaign. Experts believe that the campaign is tied to a network called Storm 1516, which has been linked to, among other things, a previous effort that falsely claimed Vice President Kamala Harris perpetrated a hit-and-run in San Francisco in 2011. Storm 1516 has a long history of posting fake whistleblower videos and often deepfake videos to push Kremlin talking points to the West. The claims went viral last week when an anonymous account called The Black Insurrectionist posted screenshots of emails from a purported victim. And a few days after that, people were able to finally track down the real Matthew Metro, who made a video and put the final nail in this whole bullshit coffin.
I was a student at Mankato West High School in Minnesota. Well, I'm gay, and I realized this when I was 14 years old.
Oh, it's obviously not me. It's the teeth are different, the hair is different, the eyes are different, the nose is different, and the accent is definitely an off-throwing thing. I obviously don't have an foreign accent, so I don't know where they're getting this from.
So at this point, even douchebag Bill Ackman had to admit he had been pushing baseless lies to his millions of followers. And after finally being exposed as the bullshit artist he is, the Black Insurrectionist deleted his account and scurried back under whatever rock he crawled out from under. But not before the Associated Press was able to track down the man behind the account and expose what everybody had already suspected from the start. The Black Insurrectionist was actually a white guy. The Black Insurrectionist was actually white. The deception didn't stop there. Last month, the account posted what Black Insurrectionist claimed was an affidavit from an ABC News employee alleging Harris was given questions in advance of the news network's debate with Trump, which ABC News vigorously disputed. Trump approved, though, declaring, "I love the person." More recently, Black Insurrectionist posted a baseless claim alleging inappropriate behavior between Walz and a student decades ago, a falsehood the U.S. intelligence officials said sprang from a Russian disinformation campaign. The reach that Black Insurrectionist account attained with assistance from Trump and his allies demonstrates the ease with which unverified information from dubious sources can metastasize online to shape public opinion. The speed and scale of disinformation has been an animating force in the presidential campaign, with the potential to affect the outcome in a close election. The Black Insurrectionist, who is linked directly to Jason G. Palmer, who has his own questionable backstory, starting with the fact that he isn't black, according to an Associated Press review of public records, open source data, and interviews with half a dozen people who interacted closely with Palmer over the past 2 decades. The records and personal accounts offer a portrait of an individual who has repeatedly been accused of defrauding business partners and lenders, has struggled with drug addiction, and whose home was raided by the FBI over a decade ago. He also owes more than $6.7 million in back taxes to the state of New York. He's far from African American, said Kathleen Albano, who said her deceased husband was involved in a failed business venture with Palmer. The AP traced the account to Palmer based on posts made by Black insurrectionists that included biographical details about living in upstate New York, a screen name, and an email address. Those details cross-reference with information available online that the AP tracked down with assistance from Gisela Perez de Acha, an open-source reporting specialist for Human Rights Center at the University of California, Berkeley. A video posted in March by Black insurrectionists shows a computer screen displaying the docket of Trump's election case in Georgia. His initials JP are visible in an icon on the web browser toolbar, and Palmer's email address can be seen in the corner of the screen, indicating that he used it to log into the state's online court system. The email address is linked to a phone number, according to open source data provider OSINT Industries, that is listed for Palmer in New York court records. The same email is also linked to a Skype account with the username JGPalmerRT. According to the open source data provider Ipsos, Palmer's middle initial is G. So yeah, they got him dead to rights. What is it with Republicans always pretending to be black people online? Why are they always doing that?